Dear audience, dear colleagues, dear friends, calling UK London once again this morning, I am happy to announce our next speaker, Benjamin Rietti, CEO of ETABS. Benjamin and ETABS have been providing innovative services and solutions to the market research industry for over 25 years now, always recognizing the integral role technology plays in market research. In his following talk, Automating and Innovating Reporting Insights to Maximize Efficiency, Benjamin will show us how to overcome time-consuming, manually created reports so that we have more time and resources for storytelling and analysis. In case you have any questions for Benjamin, please do not hesitate to send them by clicking on the question mark on the right side of your screen. I wish you an interesting and inspiring talk. Please give it up for Benjamin.
Thank you very much. Guten Morgen to everyone. Apologies, my German is not so perfect, so I will continue in English. Thank you very much for joining. Okay, just a little bit of background about us as a company. We have been around now since 1993, so a good long time, and a very established partner to many market research companies in the industry. Our specialty at ETABS is all about data visualization and online reporting and automation of PowerPoint and other types of presentation reports. We have won many awards over the years from within the industry as well as outside of the industry. Our head office is in London, England, but we do have teams across the world, in London, mainland Europe, North America, and even Auckland in New Zealand. And this way we can provide support to our clients 24 hours a day, wherever and whenever they might need us, which of course is very important in this global market that we're in. So hopefully everyone is now healthy and well and safe. But it's not necessarily the case for many companies and looking at projects as well. So these are some of the issues that many companies are coming to us with and telling us that they have experienced projects that have been cancelled or perhaps put on hold. They are now being asked to negotiate with tighter margins. They may still have many projects to deliver, but they have perhaps furloughed staff or reduced their resources, and therefore it's becoming challenging to do reporting in the current circumstances. Clients are continually demanding more value. They want more for the same or less spend. If these or any other similar issues are familiar with you, then hopefully after today's presentation you'll have a good idea for some ways to use innovation and reporting in order to reduce the impact of COVID and make you stronger going forward. We've just mentioned some of those painful impacts that you may be experiencing due to COVID and the global downturn in business. It may therefore come as an initial shock to suggest that now would actually be a time to innovate. Innovation tends to cost money and also means introducing changes at a time when there's so much uncertainty in the world. However, to survive this turmoil, we need to be like the chameleon that is constantly adapting to survive in an ever-changing environment. Innovative reporting has long been perceived as taking heavy technical wizardry. It's no surprise then that many companies don't even consider dipping their feet into the water, and especially at a time like this when companies are all struggling and may not think about proactively putting time and effort into innovation. However, innovating can mean huge cost savings and could well make the difference between keeping or losing a client or a project, or the difference between becoming stale and old in a client's eyes or making tangible changes that will actually mutually benefit each other and promote you to being seen as their partner rather than just another supplier. So we're going to look today at how we can use automation on PowerPoint, on Excel, on Word, PDF, and even Google Slides and Google Sheets. You can use automation, you can leverage it to offer more frequent reporting, for better formatted reporting. Consider, for example, you are collecting data maybe monthly, but because of the sheer amount of time it takes to do the reporting, you're only doing that reporting to the client quarterly. With automation, it will be possible to offer your client more, to offer them the ability to have monthly reports with very, very little time needed to set those up each time, and therefore offering more value to your clients and potentially a revenue generation as well. It's important to realize that there's so much more that can be done with the right tool than just, say, using an Excel macro to run off lots of charts, or an online analysis tool that offers rendering of those analyses into simple PowerPoint charts. We're talking about here automating client-ready reports with every level of detail fully automated and, of course, accurate. The ETABS range of solutions, for example, can handle changes, variance in trackers or multi-market studies, different brands or numbers of brands. You could show and calculate significance in stat testing, deal with low base conditions, or even write condition-based analysis text. We instinctively understand the actual language of market research, both from a data perspective and how research and insights professionals need to report that data. And our solutions are relevant not just to the institutes, but also to the end user corporations. Our belief is that there's so much more that is possible with using automation than just doing auto charting. So what I'd like to do is spend 2 minutes giving you a demonstration of what we call fully automated reporting. I will explain the concept and then we will see a demonstration in action. So we will work from your existing tabulations in Excel files, SPSS, Quantum, Confirm It, Q, any of the products that you are familiar with. We can take the data analyses from that, and we can even connect to online databases to extract data as well. The key differentiation between our approach and the sort of the standard, yes, we can have some automated charts, is that we work from your or your client's PowerPoint or Google Slides or other format presentations. So therefore, we already have all the level of detail that is needed. You have already designed it, let's say in PowerPoint, with all the branding, the logos, the fonts that you need, the size and the way and position you want to show the labels, every detail in the PowerPoint. And then we will pull in the data automatically from your data sources into that presentation template. So you are then left with a fully populated and still editable deck. This means you can make changes to the charts if you need to before it goes to the stakeholder or to the client. So this is the concept. I will show you now a very brief demonstration. This is going to be a multi-market project. So we're going to run this same fictional study across 3 different markets, all from one single template. Let me show you what this looks like. So here's a few of the slides. You can see they're blank, but the structure is all there. The blank tables, blank charts. I'm going to click run. And now it's running 3 reports. The first one will be France, which we'll see in a moment. It runs in 3 phases. The first phase pulls in the data to every object it finds, as you can see now. Then it does conditional formatting. So the charts are updated with labels, logos, for example, brand logos, showing significance testing on the charts, and any other calculations that might be needed as well, like NPS score. And you can see here how it's just finished the France report. Now it's doing the Germany report. You'll see that populating in a moment. Here we go. Now there's slight differences between each of the 3 countries. Obviously the top 3 competitors are different in each country. We might have different brand lists, different numbers of brands. This is all fine. We can deal with the changes as part of the automation. And now finally, we're going to the Italy report. It is now almost finished. And then I will take you through and show you how it has actually created these 3 reports. There we go. Okay, so on my output folder, you see it has France, Germany, Italy. Let me open all 3 of these, and we'll look at them side by side. There's Germany, France, and Italy as well. So you can see the slight differences between them, the different brands. These are all still normal PowerPoint charts that can be changed and edited, like I mentioned. You see each one has the unique country flag, the brand logos, and even the same slide repeated across different segments like personality and so on. And this took just a few moments. So if you're still at hand typing numbers into PowerPoint decks or Google Slides, then now is certainly the best time to invest in automated charting and reporting. No matter what quantitative project you're doing, your low-hanging fruit, as they say, the big savings will definitely be trackers or multi-market projects, where there's a fairly consistent template which can be auto-populated. Our belief, however, is that we should always be on the lookout for automating wherever possible. Automation doesn't have to be an all or nothing. So even if you have a tracker with changes, with variance, where some questions change over time, or a multi-market project where the brands themselves or the number of brands may change between markets, it's always worth automating as much as possible. We love the challenge of dealing with change. You should attune yourself to be on the lookout for opportunities. Maybe adjust your concept, ad, or copy test template so it can be more, as the Americans would say, cookie cutter, more standardized. Consider adding value to a syndicated study, where for very little extra effort, each subscriber to your study can get a deck that is tailored to their branding or pays attention to their brand over the other brands covered in the syndicate. Like I mentioned earlier, it's those small things that can make all the difference to a relationship between the institute and the client. So invest more today, and hopefully you will secure the client or project for tomorrow. It doesn't just have to be the trackers, the multi-markets, but even like employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction studies, where it's the same report that needs to be summarized and sent to different departments, to different stores and branches and so on. Because it's coming from a standard template, we can replicate. We have many projects where it's generating 3,000 or 4,000 reports for large global organizations on a multi-department level, for example. So what about ad hoc? I'm often asked if there's any mileage to be gained with auto charting purely ad hoc projects. So of course, the whole principle of automation is to take a process that's repeated and find a way to automate those repetitive tasks. But by its very definition, a project that's ad hoc isn't something that is necessarily templated. However, being that I believe so strongly in applying automation wherever possible, I like to take a step back and analyze any deliverable. For instance, are there patterns in the slides? Maybe the same set of slides is repeated across segments or categories. Or would it help the researcher if they could start their reporting with a pre-processed, automatically generated chart deck, and then just cherry pick the ones they want for their story? Regardless of project types, there are 2 other strategic benefits to invest in automated charting. The first being accuracy. Even if we're not talking about completely hands-free reporting, the fact that you can be confident with data being pulled into your charts directly from the data tables is huge. And finally, an incredible yet often overlooked benefit of automation is that projects can be set up earlier on in the process on interim or dummy data. And then when the final data is released, you can update an entire deck, maybe even hundreds of slides within minutes. So this is great for when you know that you will be under a lot of pressure, you're up against the clock to deliver accurate reports to a client with a very tight deadline. I also sometimes call this the insurance policy, protecting you against those awkward moments when you spent an entire night keying in numbers by hand for a client presentation the next morning, only to discover an email from DP saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I used the wrong weighting. Please use this file of data tabulations instead." Of course, this has never happened in real life, but it's good to be prepared. At eTabs, not only can we automate your PowerPoint presentations and, like I said, other templates like Excel scorecards, Google Slides, and so on, but we can also automate infographics and drive the data into them automatically. So here are some examples of what we do. For example, and this is all going to be in PowerPoint, you can have icons that are automatically sized when the values change. You see the male and female 70, 30%, or they're filled with a color based on a value or repeated. Or you may have maps and you want the different zones in the maps, the different regions to be colored, to have the values for those regions shown automatically. Word clouds, this can also work in many different languages, obviously not just English. Nicer looking charts and so on that are much more visual and capture the attention of the audience. So the bottom line, how can investing in innovation translate into profit? So one, leverage the technology to reduce the cost of your reporting. That is what it's there for. And once the headache and the responsibility of reporting is transferred from your fingers, you'll have both the time and headspace to utilize your analytical skills to dig for additional and more deeper insights. This is the real value that institutes and researchers, analysts bring to the projects. You can seize new, tangible, revenue-generating opportunities. For example, if fieldwork is monthly, but reporting was only just about manageable quarterly, then consider automating the charting and offer monthly reporting, like I said before, for very little extra effort. And if that offer doesn't go down well with your clients, I would be very, very shocked. The fourth point, that manual reporting not only costs you valuable time, but is prone, of course, to error. So by reporting directly from the source data itself, you are reducing the chance for any typographical errors and inaccuracies. You and your client will have more confidence in the data that's being reported. The fifth point is that even smaller companies and consultancies in particular can begin to consider pitching on larger, more complex projects that they would otherwise never have dreamed possible or attempted due to their smaller team and lack of resources. But now it is possible. And lastly, with the cost of reporting reduced and new channels for revenue generation, your profit margins can be increased. So in summary then, just to finish off, innovation has many strategic benefits. It gives you the chance to add value to what you're doing now. You can do it better and you can do more of it. It gives you ways to generate more revenue and maintain or grow profits that you weren't able to do previously. It strengthens client relationships. You'll be partnering with your clients and moving ahead rather than just doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Finally, even your staff will appreciate it. Instead of exercising their fingers, they can exercise their minds. And it's much less stressful too. Their increased job satisfaction will translate into a happier team and company. And we've seen this many, many times with our clients over the years. How can eTabs help you? Well, our team is always available. We have automated charting solutions, like we demonstrated, that will literally bring a smile to your face as you watch entire decks being populated time after time. We have data viz and infographics tools that can transform traditional charts into powerful, more visually attractive and engaging stories. We offer a full online dashboard creation service too, taking care of the setup, hosting, security, admin, and updates for those cases where you wish to deliver an online interactive dashboard to clients. And finally, we do offer, of course, the software to do the automation yourselves, or we have an entire team who can do the automation for you as a service. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope you found this presentation helpful and very thought-provoking. Please feel free to reach out for any advice you may want, either during Succeet or after the conference. Please, any questions now, we'll be available and happy to answer those questions. Dankeschön, and have a good day.
Benjamin, thank you so much for your great talk on your technologies. We did indeed receive some questions. I would like to read them out to you.
Sure.
And that's great. So we come to the first question. Could you show some details for the data input? I experienced that the files have to have a certain format to be automized.
Okay. So obviously for automation to work well, you must have consistency in the data structure. But like I said, even if there is some change, like different numbers of brands, different numbers of different positions of the brands in different markets, we can still work with that. And it'd be very difficult in the context of this webinar now to actually show different examples of the data. But I'd be happy to discuss that question directly with whoever's asking. We can, like I said, we can take Excel files, we can take SPSS, we can take many different industry standard formats, and not just limited to one file, but many files can be pulled in at the same time.
Thank you very much for your answer. Maybe some of the people in the audience also want to check out you at your booth to ask further questions. I have another one here. What are the typical time savings?
Great question. Usually anywhere up to as much as 80%, which is of course a very huge saving. With automation, you're always going to be investing more time in the initial setup process to get it right. And then, so let's say you spend a few days at the beginning to get the presentation automated, but then every time you run that project again, let's say for different markets or for another wave in a tracking study, you have reduced the time to literally minutes to do the automation. So the savings in time and of course cost can be very big.
Great, thank you. Here we go with another question. How do you deal with stat testing?
Very common question. Yes, so we can have stat testing in your tables as they are normally. We'll pull in the stat testing and show it in the PowerPoint slides, either showing it as letters for the different columns, or we can use indicators like triangles, squares, circles, smiley face, sad face, traffic lights, whatever type of indicator you want. And if you don't have the stat testing in the tables, then it's also possible to do the stat testing natively in the part of the automation. So we have a range of maybe 40 or 50 different common statistical tests, or you can have your own formula and do the stat testing as the charts are being populated.
Great, thank you, Benjamin. Here we go with another question. If the tracker gets new brands added, do the charts take that into account, or do the charts have to be set up new?
Good question. So if one can anticipate at the beginning of doing the setup that there may be some changes, then it's very easy to build accommodation for those future changes into the automation process. And if it wasn't possible to foresee that at the beginning, it's still possible to make changes later on. It just may take a little bit more time to adjust the template to accommodate those changes. It's not usually a big deal.
Thank you so much, Benjamin, for your talk, for answering the questions. Yes, Thank you to the audience for the attention and participation. We are now having a coffee break till 1 o'clock. Then we are going to the next talk. And as I said before, you're always welcome to visit Benjamin at his booth. And that's for the moment. Thank you so much.
Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen.